give you a copy. This is the slaughter weight for the same shades, 20 shades, and this is the summary about the food intake of the body weight and the meat yield and the FCR for those tests over the 20 shades. And this is the ammonia release from the shades at 25 centimeter above the ground height. And although they are very variable as they are the open shades, the 3 year extent shades under the free range, but there is a trend that the nitrogen or the ammonia emissions were reduced. One of the important messages here to take home could be the depletion of nitrogen into the excreta, and that is where we have got a lot of work now we're following up. So the improved uptake of the protein or nitrogen in the feed, as therefore you see a regular depletion of nitrogen in the fresh excreta, and that is where we see much gain in feed conversion efficiencies that I will provide more data on this one later on. So those are the 2 trials for the grower. Then we have got the 4 trials in the layer. The first trial is control environment in the little pen, few birds, 4 to 5 birds per pen, replicated trials with number of feed additives, including the biochar, bentanoate, and gluite. But I will be concentrating most of the presentation in biochar only. So most of the work is looking at the nitrogen depletion to test that hypothesis under the conditions that the feed conversion efficiency is improved through improved uptake of nitrogen. So I'm putting a lot of data on the litter qualities, but here this is the egg count over 189 days, where you see a significant again improvement of the laying with the 2% biochar on the control experiment trial. So as some of these indicators of the egg qualities, for example, hue height. But I'll also present some more data about the cell quality in terms of cell weight, cell thickness, and the cell strength later onto the next trial. So this is the trial now with the large growers under the what we call the free-range organic egg production system. This is the picture of the shade where we have noted a significant effect on the time of lay, as well as body weight at the time of lay, around the week 18 or 19. And that is where we think that the early effect of biochar are on, because at the point of lay, the birds with the biochar feeds are significantly heavier compared to the control. Here there is 2 sheds, so this trial is a bit limited with the number of replication. So you may take this one as an observation, but as the results are very consistent to what we saw in the small cages, and therefore this has been also been published in CSIR Journal of Animal Science. So you see the lay here, so 2 points to take it here. So there is the point of lay is earlier on the biochar, and the longevity is greater, and the outcomes are at British standards or above, and the performance with the biochar are higher in the commercial settings. So there are a few data about egg qualities, the albumin height and the egg weight. So egg weight has improved by about 1.4 gram. The cell thickness has improved, and this cell weight has improved. Therefore, we believe cell strength is greater in that one. So this work is now done by one of the largest chicken producers in Australia. Many of you are maybe aware of that. It's called Sonny Queen. Sonny Queen handles about 60% of the Australian total egg, I guess. So every time you buy egg, so every second egg would come from the Sonny Queen. So they are big, larger operators. So we have got a trial going on in their commercial settings with what they call slatted floor. So it's a little bit different to the cage. So this is the real data from those the trials. So where you see the effects of the biochar are consistently higher than the control. But here also the number of replications are very limited. So therefore, these results need to be taken with caution. So this is the bird weight, which is consistently higher. With this one, mortality has reduced onto that one. This work has been published into the +1 journal, so you will be able to see that one. So we do this one, all microbiology work with the University of Monash, and they are MIT, they are collaborators there. So it has been published into the +1, and some work in the microbiology and biotechnology journal. There is a paper that I can share with you. So I'll not spend too much of time because I'm not a microbiologist, but I have just put some of these data presented by one of my colleagues. She's the leader in our gut microbiology, the field of research, and therefore I'm just putting a few highlights on where is the biochar effects are coming from. So there is one message is we believe these effects are coming from the early start of the feeding. So where we have the two sets of trial condition where we started, under one condition we started at the point of lay, in another condition we have started from day one. And we have noted the positive result in terms of gut microbiota on those treatments where we started the biochar feeding from the day one. So this is the summary. And then we have looked at because we did this 16 RNA technique to look at all the genome-wide database, and we have consistently seen the two effects, the Campylobacter and Helicobacter, complete elimination or reduction. So there are consistently positive effects in terms of the Campylobacter and Helicobacter. I'm not sure how much it's a problem here in Nepal, but in Australia we do have, under the free range and organic system, we have got the serious problem of what they call spotty liver. So this so that those the graphs shows those statements I made earlier about the Helicobacter and the Campylobacter. The trials, so we have got more of the microbiology trials running at the moment to look at different particle size with the biochar on. So this is more about the menu, where we have got more focus as well. We intensively looking at the biochar effect in feed as well as biochar supplement further on during composting and further processing. So I'll take the work further from the bird now to the manure, and there is where the first graph shows you the consistently reduction of ammonia level from the manure. Increase in electrical conductivities mean more nitrogen into the liter. We have done a very crude economic analysis. It's by no means it is a detailed analysis, but just a very crude estimate at the rate of $1 a kilo of the biochar. What we need is 4 more eggs to produce by that bird to become cost neutral, and that's clearly the case. And therefore, where we have a very keen interest by the industry, they are putting a lot of investment into this. They see there could be a potential opportunities, and therefore our current trial. So this is the experts that we do on fertilizer, taking the manure from the chicken and then putting through a very modern technique of granulation and pelletization to make a dry fertilizer that can be used by current fertilizer applicator in Australia. So you need to have the consistency and the strength into the granules to make them suitable to be applied by the fertilizer applicator. So we do have very strong research in converting those, and where we see a very good effect of biochar consistent through the recovery of the fertilizer. So we categorize those granules into the different size, and what Australian industry look a granule of 2 to
immune system. But how it works? Well, you know that first we have the physical barriers. If the bacteria of the virus can go through these physical barriers, skin, the mucosa, the mucus, they go to innate immunity barriers. So it's a part of immunity that is not reactive, that is just innate. So we are speaking of the macrophages, of the natural killer cells, of the phagocytes, of the complement. What happens if the innate immunity barrier cannot control the diseases? Well, then we have another system that is adaptive immunity that will be adapted to this virus or bacteria and will react against them. And more than this, we have memory, and if in case of a second infection, will react faster and stronger. And it's also important to note that we have a humoral response, but we have also a cell-mediated response. If we see one by one the cells, you know that in the case of birds, we have heterophils and not neutrophils. Okay, but we have that is the first cells that have an effect in immunity by phagocytosis. Okay. Also, we have the eosinophils and the basophils that have an effect that is very close that from this in mammals, but this function is not fully understood. Okay. Then we have the macrophages and the reticular cells. Those are maybe the keystone of the immunity because they are in the first line of the immune defense, but also they will start the immunity by the capacity of processing and present the antigens to the other cells. And also they have a major role in the inflammation. We have also the natural killer cells that are also part of the innate immune system, but in this case they have effects of cytotoxicity and they can kill cells that are infected by virus or tumors. Then we pass to cells that have effect in the adaptive immune system. We have the T cells, you know, that are mature in the thymus. You know that are only activated by the major histocompatibility for the major histocompatibility complex, and not directly by antigen. And you know also that there are two types of this, the CD4 and the CD8. The CD4 is the helper, so they are working in activating the different parts of the immune system, and the CD8 have an effect as killers. Finally, we have the B cells. You know that they are taking part in the humoral response. Okay, and also we have different types of them. We have the plastic cells that are those that are producing the antibodies, and also we have the memory cells that what we do is to do that and to make in case of a secondary infection to do a faster and stronger reaction with the antibodies. Okay, so a very complex system. And what happens when you have a very complex system? What is really important? Communication. And how are these cells doing the communication? By these cytokines. So we have these cytokines that are regulatory peptides that are mostly produced by the immune system cells and have a cascade effect. So if we are producing them in one part of the immune response, it will have effect not just that, but also downstairs. Okay? This is one paper, and you can see the difference in different interleukins if we infect a chicken with ascaris. So you can see that there is a big difference, because in any way, these cells are saying to another, okay, we have a problem, we need to do the things like this, and like this. We need to go for the cell-mediated immunity or for the humoral immunity or whatever. And here you can see that all of them are related between them and between different interleukins or interferon or others. And at the end, they will announce one type of response or another. Okay? So let's come back to the topic of my presentation, that is immunomodulatory nutrients. First, what are immunity nutrients? Well, are these nutrients that can rebalance the immune system when they use it as supplementation. So not for deficiency, so up to these levels, but in supplementation. Okay? What are the effects that they have? Well, mostly, if you check this table, they have an anti-inflammatory response. They have an effect in the superoxide in the macrophage, and they can increase or decrease the immune response by antibodies or by cells. Okay, so let's see them one by one. First of them is vitamin A. Vitamin A has a lot of effects in the body as nutrient, but has also effects as immunotary nutrient. Decrease of the proliferation of lymphocytes, well, increase the activity of network killer cells, lots of them. Remember that vitamin A have effects, but also beta-carotene have effects. You know that it's a precursor, but it has also effects by itself. Well, this is a paper with lion hands of 3 weeks old. You can see that there is different groups with an increasing supplementation of vitamin A. And we have 2 experiments. One with a high temperature from day 0 to day 21, and another with a high temperature from day 14 to day 35. And what they have done is to challenge the diet with a Lasota vaccine and to look for the antibody titers. And you can see that there is an increase. But just the experiment 2 with the high temperature from day 14 to day 35, we have significant results. And for me, there is 2 things that are interesting in this paper. One, yes, there is an effect in the antibody production by the supplementation of vitamin A. And 2, the stress, in this case for temperature, has also an effect. We can speak also about vitamin E, that is well known for antioxidant activity, but also, again, have an action as immunotary nutrient in the prevention of peroxidation and in the conversion of anionic acid into prostaglandin, so effect in inflammation. And in this slide, you can see, well, all the process of the inflammation, and you can see that most of the nutrients that we are calling immunomodulatory nutrients are related with this antioxidant process. Okay, so maybe also they have an effect because by having an effect in this process, they are avoiding this damage that can be produced in this antioxidant process. Okay. Another paper, this time with broilers, to resolve different levels of vitamins, vitamin E, A, and B, and beta-carotene, and also a mix of them. And what they do is they have 2 experiments again, one with immunized birds with a Cagliari coli vaccine at week 1, and the another with not immunized birds. Okay, and again you can see that there is an effect in the addition of these products in immunity. It's the mortality in the first week. Okay, so there is an effect in the mortality due to the addiction or not of these products. But there is another thing that is very interesting for me in this paper, is that sometimes when we supplement with 2 of them, the results are not so good as when we supplement with just with 1 of them. So there is some relationships between them, but not always are positive. Same paper, this time is the titers, antibody titers for all the groups. And again, you can see that there is a difference. We are using only the vitamins E or A, or both of them, or them with beta-carotene. This is also another paper that's also interesting for me, because in this case they are not using the vitamin E not as a nutrient, but as adjuvant. They are putting this vitamin E in the adjuvant of an inactivated vaccine. Also, there is effect. Mainly in the first days, but also there is an effect. Okay? Another immunomodulatory nutrient, vitamin C. Okay? Is well known for its antioxidant activity, and also another thing that is important is that it's produced by the chicks. So, why we need to supplement this? Well, because they have also a immunomodulatory nutrients effect. Okay, as increase the synthesis of superoxides, increase the proliferation of lymphocytes, also increase activity of natural killer cells. So have an effect not just in the innate immunity, but also in the adaptive immunity. Okay, in this paper, the hard chicks, 6 weeks old, they challenge the animals with different supplementations with a highly pathogenic E. coli. Okay, and what happens is in the group of supplementation, on some groups, you have a very nice response, but if we increase the dose, this response is not so good. So there is a bell response. Again, another paper, in this case, is broiler chicks, 2 weeks old. We challenge with a IV virus, and we are measuring the ASAC lesions, okay? But we have the same. We have a better response when we have supplementation, but if we increase the supplementation, the response is not so good. Also in the mean, in the average. Okay, another immunomodulatory nutrient is the polyunsaturated fatty acids have also effect. The polyunsaturated fatty acids have a lot of effects in the body as nutrients. They intervene in the cell membrane fluidity, lipid differentiation, the integrity of the skin, well, a lot of them. But also, again, have a lot of effect as immunotary nutrients. Okay, for example, it's working as anti-inflammatory for anti-inflammatory. Another paper. This case is broiler chicks, 5 weeks old. Okay, we have 3 groups with different types of oil: palm oil, soya oil, vegetable oil. Okay, and this means that there is different of polyunsaturated fatty acids in the feed. Okay, and all the birds were vaccinated with a Newcastle vaccines twice, and then they were challenged by 10 times the dose of a live Gumboro disease vaccine. Okay, and you can see that there is not a strong difference in the IBD titers, but yes, in the Newcastle titers, and there's also not a difference in the lesions of the bursa. So again, there is a strong difference. Not just maybe the thing is not just enhancing the immune system, but is modulating it to have, in this case, better results just in the Newcastle antibody titers. Another immunomodulatory nutrient is the phytonutrients, and from this there are a lot of them. I choose 2, carbacrol and phenaldate, but there is a lot of them. I think that later on there is some presentation about some phytonutrients that have effect in the growth, but also it's possible that they have effect in the immunity. Okay, and this paper is in vitro trial with lymphocytes, and they put different lymphocytes in a Petri plaque with different types of phytonutrients, as turmeric, steak, and you can see that they can measure that there is changes in the production of the different interleukins. Okay, so in some way it's the same thing that happens if we challenge the animals with ascaris. So it's having an effect in this communication between the different parts of the immune system, as we have seen before. Okay, until now, these nutrients are wonderful, are fantastic, so we can use them, and like this, we can solve all the problems with diseases in the world. No, it's not like this, because we have a lot of limitations in the use of them. Okay, first we have seen we have a bell-shaped curve response. Okay? It's not about using a lot of them, but to use the correct quantity. And this is not just in vitamin C, it's also in vitamin A. We have the E. We have exactly the same bell-shaped response curve. Makes sense, because when we are speaking about the nutrition, normally it's like that, with all the nutrients. We have a positive effect when we are in the correct supplementation, but if we increase more the quantity, we will have a toxicity. Okay. The second thing that we need to keep in mind is these vitamins, these phytonutrients are doing nothing but just work as cofactors for the key enzymes. If we come back to this anti-inflammatory schema, yes, all these nutrients are having a key role, but what is doing really the work is the enzymes. This glutathione reductase, this glutathione peroxidase is what are doing the work. The immunomodulatory nutrients are just working as cofactors. Also, you have seen in one of the papers, there is a very strong interaction between the different immunonutrients. Not just between vitamin E and A, but also between, for example, the polyunsaturated fatty acid and the vitamin E, or the polyunsaturated fatty acid and the lutein. So, what I want to say is, it's not just to have them in the correct dose, each one of them, but also between them. So, they have to be in the correct relationship. Okay. And finally, remember that what we are doing is a modulation of the immune system. And for example, we know that for some diseases like LTA, infectious laryngal tracheitis, the immunity should be cell-mediated, because it's what is really protecting the virus. The immune response is not protecting the virus. So if we are modulating the immune system to have more humoral response, we'll have no extra protection against laryngo. But, for example, we know that for avian encephalitis, the protection is mostly due to the humoral immunity. So in this case, yes, maybe it's correct. So, what are the practical use that we have nowadays for these nutrients? We are using them for reinforce the premix in case that we have a challenge in the field or stress. We are using them as adjuvants for vaccines. You have seen the paper with vitamin E, but also you will see that there is a lot of vaccines, or some of vaccines that are live vaccines that now have adjuvants. In most of the cases, these adjuvants for live vaccines are this kind of products. And finally, we can use this as preventive treatment. And for example, we have the case of carbacrol and coccidiosis in cases. For example, we are using a lot these carbacrol treatments in Europe. Why? Because we have not the possibility of use other products or antibiotics or anticoagulants in the feed or in the animals. So we need to go for these products, and we have good results. That's all.
Yeah, we have 7 more minutes, so we can take many questions. Yes, sir, please. You first introduce yourself before you ask the question.
Anja from India. I compliment you for the nice presentation, the immune system and modulating those immune system. I have 2 questions. One is, you have not mentioned any trace elements. Minerals, because the minerals affecting the immune system. Then the second question is there any link between the adaptive immunity and innate immunity system? Because I want to know the TLR system.
Sorry, you can repeat the second one?
Yeah, full leg receptors expression, whether they have any role in nutrition. Yeah, nutrition having any role modulating both expression. TLR expression.
First, yes, selenium, for example, it's having a positive effect in the antioxidant process, will have a positive effect in immunity. And for the second, if there is an effect in the adaptive immunity, yes, also. Why? Exactly because we are modulating these interleukin peptides, and this is in some way modulating the adaptive immune response for one way or another. I don't know if I have answered your question or not.
Yeah. What is the relationship between the TLR and the cytokines? Is there any role with the cytokines and TLR expression?
No clear in case.
Dr. Saxena wants to supplement. He is a principal scientist from Central Aviation Research Group, India.
TLR as such are the first molecule. They recognize the PAMs on the pathogen, and they recognize them, and then they give the signal for activation of the immune system, AP1 and NK cell, all those cascade that is activated. And of course, they in turn give rise to elicitation of effective immunity, that is through antibody formation, and in that the role of cytokine, chemokine, and all those things comes. So it's a very, very intricated cascading reaction. The immune system as such is not working alone. Some of the pathogens, they are being taken care of by the CMI, but many intracellular bacteria, but for those they are in the circulation. Many cells they would have. So, sir, I also have a query. Genetics of the host, that also has a profound effect, whether a disease to occur or not. So in your experimentation, you have taken the nutritional part alone, without any, changes or different genotypes, and how the genotype and nutrition interaction is going on. Because I'm sure that for all the genotypes, the same nutrient won't be working equally. As the genotype changes, as the genetic composition of the host changes, the effect of different, outside support, like vaccine or nutrient, whatever we are giving, that is also.
Completely agree with you. As I said, we are speaking about supplementation, not about deficiencies. If the genotype change, the requirements, the nutritional requirements will change. So we will not able to use this as supplementation. And that's why I have bring different papers with different types of birds, broilers, breeders, and others. Because I agree with you. This thing about immunity is a beautiful thing. You need, because it's a small thing. It's very soft. You need to be in the correct relationship to use the product in the correct time, in the correct dose, for the correct type of production, to have the correct immune response, and to have balance, to have no disease. So it's not easy. It's easier just to use antibiotics. But in the future, we don't know if we will have antibiotics for poultry production. So we need to start to learn all these things. How to use the immune system with the full capacities to protect our birds.
Thank you very much, sir, because I just want your presentation to correlate with the field situation. So that's an excellent presentation on immune systems. And because here in Nepal, there are a lot of the medicines and marketed by different companies, and they are telling that they having the immunomodulatory effect. But from your presentation, I came to know that you have different research paper you were citing, and that they have given that even with different combination, they don't have the good effect on immunomodulation. So just I want to correlate with this field situation, because in market I have seen that they have combined all the immunomodulatory the vitamins together. So we have to rethink these all because there must be some interaction or some negative effect on that.
I will.
So there should be, I think now you have to rethink on that. And we have the herbal medicine are also coming claiming about the immunomodulatory effect. If I ask them to give the evidence-based medicine support, but they are unable to provide the research article on that, because they don't have a research article on, they have only the trial effect. So that's a very, I think, one of the...
I agree with you. There is a lot of products nowadays in the market. We have part of the effect that they have in the animals is this immunomodulatory effect. Well, there should be an investigation research behind this and papers or scientific knowledge. Yeah, because it's not an easy thing. These are fine things, and we need to really tune this system. Okay.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Chairman. I think Dr. Fernando has mentioned from the nutritional point of view about the immunomodulatory program. My query is, while working in the field, there is a lot of vaccination failure problem, immunosuppression in the birds. The reason is we are having the E. coli or mycoplasma, which are the inhabitants in this area, and it is very difficult to manage these problems. When we are having S9N2 and ND, which is also common. So in such a situation, what is your advice to the farmers while using this, immunomodulator as a nutrient, like vitamin A or E or C, something like that? Is it beneficial to use these nutrients before vaccination or after vaccination? What is your advice?
Thank you for the question. First of all, we are producing, and we are producing for making money. So that means that we have some money to spend on improving the immune system. If I have to choose between having a good control of mycotoxins for better raw materials or binders or whatever, or use the dissimulated nutrients, in high percent of mycotoxins, I will prefer to go for the control of mycotoxins. Because if we have immune suppression due to mycotoxins in the immune system, these nutrients, the effect, no. If we have a lot of gumbo in the field, the birds are immunosuppressed. So that's why I have started my presentation for the big picture with all the things. About your question, I prefer to use it before, because like this, the immune system is ready, and it's more active to use this vaccine and to get better antibodies or a better response.
So we have to use before vaccination.
No, you don't need to use this before a long time before, but just before. If you haven't seen this paper, at the end is we have the stress by temperature from day one or not stress. And we are having better results with no stress, because we give time to the immune system to be activated by these immunonutrients, and then can have a better process. So, and also depends. If we are speaking about the killed vaccines, for sure before. If we are speaking, for example, about one vaccine against coccidia, it takes longer. During the process, the coccidia is performing the cycles. But the answer is this is not magic. It's not we put the product and we have a better immunity. We need to give time the birds to develop this immunity, to be activated.
If there is no more questions, I am really thankful to Mr. Fernando for presenting very nice and illuminating topic. And I am equally thanking all the participants who have given an output and participated in interactively. So, as token of love and respect, I request Dr. Manraj Kulakshapati, Director, AFU, to present a token of love and respect and moment. Register for the leadership.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for.
Now we'll go for order presentation. So, speaker will get 15 minutes time to present. First speaker is B. Devkota. I request you to present this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair of the session and the Rapporteur of the session. Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Registrar of the University, Chair of the Organizing Committee, all the dignitary scientists from abroad and from Nepal. I would like to welcome you all this morning in my presentation, a strategic feeding, a key of optimizing production and reproductive performance in broiler breeders during summer season. Although I am not a nutritionist, as all of you know, like I mostly work on the large animals and basically on the reproductive technology, but this is what I sometimes do in the field, like in poultry. So I feel this is a very interesting data. That's why I take this honor to share with you the data, whatever I have obtained while working on the broiler breeder farm. So, as you know, the effect of heat stress in all birds, similar is the case with the broiler breeders. Whenever there is the imbalance between the body heat production and the body heat loss, birds, they suffer from heat stress. This can occur at any ages and in all types of birds. The body temperature of the broiler breeders must remain, as you know, like the normal temperature, 40-41 degrees Celsius, 106 degrees Fahrenheit above. And if the body temperature rises more than 4 degrees Celsius above than this, then of course bird will suffer from heat stress and may not tolerate and may die. This is a very simple diagram showing what happens when the birds suffer from heat stress. This is a kind of thermoregulatory, thermoneutral zone. You can see this is the, Sorry. Point. Yeah. This is the line for the ambient temperature. Hmm. So when there is the lower temperature, the favorable temperature, you can see the thermoregulatory zone works well, and there is everything normal behavior of the birds. When there is a little critical above than the critical temperature, then of course the milder symptoms of heat stress is shown by the birds. This is the most problem zone is when the maximum heat loss is there from the body, and if the birds cannot tolerate that situation, then the problems arises, all the welfare problems, including birds cannot breathe normally, and the birds cannot eat, and of course the ultimately birds can die. So, if the amount of heat produced by a bird is greater than that, the amount it loses, the bird's body temperature will increase. During hot weather, birds will limit their daytime activity and will reduce feed consumption. We know this. Feed consumption, digestion increases body temperature because of the metabolic effect, and decreased feed intake reduces body heat production. That's why this is very important point is like whenever there is the amount of feed control or the amount of feed intake by the bird, that of course produces the calorie, and that calorie produces heat in the body of the bird. So severely decreased feed intake of course will reduce the performance of the bird. Now in Nepal, this is the situation, like most of the broiler breeders are kept in open houses, like yesterday Dr. Subir was showing closed house system, but that's a very recent trend going on in Nepal. Most of the breeder farms, they are operated in the open housing system. Mostly concentrated in Chitwan or a place similar to Chitwan, the low altitude and very high humidity and high temperature zone, where the temperature exceeds more than 33 degrees Celsius. In this situation, considerable but unreported loss due to summer heat, because I use this word unreported because most of the broiler breeder farms, they don't expose the report, so we don't know what's going on in the farm. That's why it's very difficult to have the data and to have the records as well. But of course there is a huge loss going on. We can see that, we can feel that. So the loss might be a massive one, and several strategies can prevent this loss. If we open up everything, if the data is open, then of course we can work on that and we can suggest the corrective measures as well. One of the very simple concept is, why don't we use a strategic feeding technique? Because all the broiler parent chick suppliers, they give some sort of operational management manual that gives you a guideline for the amount of the feed. But we don't consider the situation, the environmental situation. If we don't consider and we just we start following that manual, maybe that will not work in our situation. That's why we thought like this is a strategic feeding. What I mean the strategic feeding is that includes a feed amount based on the production age, expected temperature in the shed, and the body weight of the birds. So these three factors should be considered while determining the amount of feed we offer to the broiler breeders. That's why the objective of this present study was to understand if strategic feeding can optimize production and reproductive performance in terms of the sellable chick production. Here the reproductive performance is in broiler breeders during summer season. Now in materials and measures, the summer season mostly from June to August, very peak summer, very hot summer. Data from 3 years data, 2015 to 2018, of a commercial broiler breeding farm that included more than 10,000 broiler laying parents of synthetic breeds in each year, reared in two-tier open house cage system in Chitwan, Nepal, was analyzed using a specialized multivariate analysis system using a JMP software to understand the relationship among the peak temperature in the shed, amount of feed, body weight, depletion pattern, and quantity of hatching eggs and sellable chicks. So this is the picture of the two-tier open house cage system where the study was conducted. And this is a standard feed formulation that was offered to the laying parents, broiler parents. You can see here the calorie offered was 270 around per 100 grams of feed, and others are, about 16% protein, and you can see all other things, whatever have been offered. Now, when you go to the result, this is the main temperature in the shed from June to August. You can see 2015, 16, 17, and 18. Throughout the summer, the main temperature increased. This is the temperature of the shed, real-time monitoring of the temperature of the shed, more than 33 degrees Celsius. These 2 years, 2016 and even this year, 2018, temperature exceeded even 34 plus was there. So this is a very, very, stressful condition. Now this is a feed in gram. This 2015, what was done was like about on an average 167 grams. This is for the birds between 30 to 40 weeks of age. This was offered during this time because when we follow the guideline of the parent chick supplier, this is what they suggest. And this gives about 450 kilocalorie energy to the birds. Total feed, multiplied by the amount of kilocalorie per 100 gram of feed. Now, from 2016 onward, when the strategy was adopted, you can see the reduction of the feed amount because depending upon the rises in temperature and the body weight of the birds, started the feed amount reducing. You can see about 45 kilocalorie was reduced in this age group. In between 41 to 55 weeks of age, about 59 kilocalorie was reduced. This is the reduction in terms of kilocalorie. And in older age, 56 plus weeks of age, the reduction was about 35 kilocalorie in total on an average. Now, what happened with this? You can see, although there are so many factors that governs, that determines the performance of the birds, that determines even the depletion pattern, the mortality of the birds. This is not only the amount of feed we offer to the birds, but this is one of the major factors we believe. So if we look at this graph, this is very interesting. See, the year 2015, the depletion pattern exceeded 20% during summer. However, 16, 17, 18, we can see below 5%. And I think this is a significant reduction in the depletion. When we analyze with the chi-square test, this is highly significant reduction. So this is one of the major achievements when we adapt this strategic feeding practice. Now this slide shows the body weight versus depletion pattern, depletion percent during summer months in broiler breeding laying hens. This is the green bars is the body weight, and the red line is the depletion pattern. See, when there is a higher body weight, on an average more than 4.6 kg per bird per hen, the depletion pattern was maximum, more than 20%. When body weight was reduced to 4.2 on an average or below 4.2, around 4 kg of a laying hen, we can see reduction in the depletion pattern. So similar was the case with when we see the body weight versus hatching egg and the sellable chicks during the similar time. We can see this is the hatching egg percentage was lower, below 90%. Now consecutive years almost very close to 95% and even started exceeding 95% total hatching egg percent. And in terms of sellable chicks, it was at the time of 2015 when strategic feeding was not adopted, about 65 plus only. But when the practice was adopted, you can see a significant rise here, and now this has reached even more than 80% performance in terms of sellable chicks by the broiler breeders. Now, this is a very interesting data, like interesting, the correlations in 30 to 40 weeks of age group. this is, sorry. You see the peak temperature, when we see the bivariate relationship with peak temperature, the depletion is positive. Depletion means when the temperature rises, depletion increases. It's very simple. And this is significant by P less than 0.05%. And similarly, with feed, the amount of feed you can see body weight positive, depletion pattern positive, hatching egg negative, and chick percentage also negative. Similarly, with the depletion percent, this hatching egg and chick, of course, this is reduced. So this shows that the amount of feed we offer to the bird is directly related to the weight gain by the bird, and that has a negative effect on depletion. So this also shows in between in 45 to 55 weeks of age birds, you can see the amount of feed is positively correlated to the body weight, positively correlated to body weight. This is positively correlated to the depletion pattern, negatively correlated to the hatching egg percentage and the salivary chicks. So with the body weight, similar, depletion is positively correlated, hatching egg and salivary chicks negatively correlated. So in total, what we understood, so this is a very similar case with in the older age group. So what we see at the end is, with the temperature in the shade and amount of feed, a significant positive correlation of depletion pattern and a negative correlation of quantity of hatching eggs and salivary chicks were observed. This is very true. Regardless of the age, I mean, when we monitor more closely an individual pen, individual shade, individual record, we can see, regardless of the age, the laying hen's body weight of more than 4.5 kg was detrimental when temperature exceeded more than 37 degrees Celsius. That's why it's very important to try to reduce the temperature of the shed in open houses and also to maintain the body weight of the laying hens regardless of the age of the hens. So the favorable body weight to cope up the summer heat stress was obviously around 4 kg is the regardless of any breeds. We have tried in several breeds, 3 or 4 different types of synthetic breeds. This is the key, that we have to maintain the body weight, female body weight about 4 kg, 4.1 kg, 4.2 kg is okay, but more than 4.2 kg, if we exceed more than 4.5 kg, obviously that is detrimental. So, that's why this can be achieved. What we believe is, of course, there are some other factors as well, but we believe that strategic feeding is one of the key for this achieving this thing. So in conclusion, therefore, strategic feeding practice is a key of profitable production and reproductive performance of broiler breeders during summer season in open house system. So when we evaluate the economic benefit, like, of course, reducing the amount of feed by 10 to 20 grams per bird is a huge saving. In one hand, you are reducing feed by 10 to 20 grams per hen, and that itself is a huge saving. And in other hand, you are having a good performance in terms of everything, in terms of production of the eggs, in terms of the salivary chicks, everything. That's why to waste the feed? Feed is very important, one of the most important thing that we offer to the poultry, to the birds. That's why it's better to save the feed and to save the bird. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Delko. Now the topic is open for discussion, but I will start with one question. Sir, you have reduced the kilocalorie in 1 kg.
Yeah.
What is the basis of decreasing? Is it random or there is
No, sir. That's what I was stressing. Like, we, for example, today the shed temperature, we monitor the environment. What sort of environmental temperature is going on. For example, today is 35 degrees Celsius. I mean, yesterday was 35 degrees Celsius. And what we expect for today, obviously more than 35 degrees Celsius. Then we calculate the amount of feed accordingly. We make a plan. There is a pre-plan. For example, for this temperature, for this body weight group, this is the amount of feed. That's the pre-plan. But for individual day, for particular day, we may even manipulate that amount of feed. So this is a strategy. Please.
Please introduce yourself. Because they are known to everybody else.
Thank you very much. My name is Dinesh Kumar Singh. I'm a professor at the Department of Veterinary Pathology and Clinics at Institute of Agriculture and Animal Science, Trivandrum University. And presently I am a veterinary program coordinator at Patli, which is just situated to the Lumbini area near India. My question is, how you have calculated the kilocalories here? So that's my one question. How you have calculated?
So you can see each 100 gram of feed, this is a formulated feed, right?
Okay.
So 100 gram is 270 kilocalories. So if we offer 140 gram, let's say this is 167 gram of feed. So 167, very simple, 270 multiplied by
No, just
1.67.
my question is,
Yeah.
you have calculated this amount of calories
Yeah,
just by calculating the content of calories in the feed.
in the feed, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then my question is, because you are offering the different feed in different situations and at a different time,
Yeah.
so did you calculate the amount of calories in the raw material and then you have calculated the calories, or just calculated from your means the reported value?
Yes, sir. If
So
I
that's very important, because in the research, if you had calculated from the books or somewhere, then I think it's not an exact kilocalories you are offering to the bird.
yeah.
So
yeah.
that's I want to know.
Okay, thank you, sir. As I understand, while formulating the feed, how this 100 gram of feed gives 270 kilocalorie is already calculated. Like, the amount of raw material we add into the feed, that has a particular calorie value. Each ingredient has a particular calorie value. And depending upon the calorie value of each ingredient, we calculate amount of total calorie that comes from 100 gram of feed, right? Okay. So, like, for example, there are known ingredients, for example, maize, different ingredients, but each and every ingredient has a specific kilocalorie out of it. That's how, that's how the standard feed formulation is calculated. Then when we offer that known feed formulation, standard feed formulation, obviously, we kind of, we can think that particular amount of feed supplies this much kilocalorie. What I agree with your question is, on top of that, sometimes, for example, we offer some electrolyte plus some energy drinks to the birds. That may add up the calorie on top of that. But in this research, that has been neglected. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my question is, because you are calculating the feed in different years. You see, 15 to 18 years, and that time you must have given the different medicine or different electrolyte. We have mentioned that vitamin content may be different, so there must be some interaction, and that will affect your research. That's a very, very important to understand, because until and unless you have the data from different breeder farm, and for that I think you need lot of data, and then only you should be conclude anything. So that's why I have little bit doubt that your data is coming from the different years, and different years you have the different situation, and you have offered the different feed, and the raw material content of kilocalories and different nutrients is different. So that you have to take into consideration, I think.
Yeah, I agree, sir. Okay. Yeah.
In the next program, I think you can take into consideration.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But I waiting for some questions.
Just to supplement to his argument, here the calculation of this all nutrient is based on the average nutrient value of raw materials available in Nepal. We have a data since last 15 years. So every batch of the raw material that comes to the factory, we have a laboratory over there, we calculate the nutrition value on the basis of average of that one. That's the average, not the actual at that time when we did this experiment. That is the basis for calculation of that kilocalorie. Thank you.
Yes, we have.
Sir, good morning. I am Dr. Bablu Thakur. I am pursuing my master's in surgery at AFU. My question sir, you said that in summer we can decrease 10 to 20 gram of feed by strategic feeding, and we can decrease the wastage. Sir, my question is for what? How many degrees Celsius? Suppose there is temperature increase of 1 degree Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius. So could you please elaborate for that 1 degree temperature increase? We have to decrease this much kilocalorie of feed.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good question. In fact, I think we need a lot of elaborative discussion for that. What we get in the operation manual, I mean the guideline from the supplier is that they give everything depending on the ideal temperature. That ideal temperature means it's not more than 30 degrees Celsius. Always below 28 degrees Celsius, they keep the specific guideline. So anything, any temperature that exceeds 28 or 30 plus means that we have to make our own protocol. So that's what this is a kind of data analysis. So this analysis shows that we have to be very careful that we have to monitor the body weight of the birds. We have to keep in mind the environmental temperature. Then we have to adjust. We have to decide the amount of feed that we offer to the birds. So it's like we haven't made a specific formulation. Okay, this is the formula you apply and you decide the amount of feed. But what we are doing is like, as I mentioned earlier, we monitor, we keep record of everything. Then we decide the tentative amount of feed and see what happens with that amount of feed we offer to the bird. And obviously, when we monitor, we keep on monitoring the body weight of the birds, and of course, production, records are there. We monitor all the production records, and we see a positive, positive effect of that. We keep on going for that. So as I mentioned earlier, this is not a well-designed experiment. This is a kind of retrospective analysis of the data, and the analysis shows a very important and very kind of interesting results. That's what I wanted to share in this platform.
Yeah, thank you for a very informative presentation. Probably you know that that specific dynamic action is most highest in for dietary protein.
Yeah.
So if you consider the amino acid balance, you may increase more.
Okay.
Yeah, feed.
Good feedback. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Suggestion. Thank you very much. I think there is no more questions. That's very good. Very good presentation, Dr. Dev Pudaji. And this is a new window that we can zoom now. Because in India we are after precision feeding. Now here it is strategic feeding. Okay, so all new approaches. So we are all doing for the betterment for the saving the feed, betterment for the comfort of the bird. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
And also to the participant with giving very stimulating questions. So as a token of love and respect, I request Dr. Dev Pudaji, is the Chief Livestock Development Officer, Government of Livestock Services, to present.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mr. Hemraj Dhakal. Next speaker and last speaker.
Welcome and namaste everybody. I'm Hemraj Dhagal from Nepal Agricultural Research Council and working in Animal Nutrition Division. I have worked, it is not so big, but it's a simple work done in Regional Agricultural Research Station, Tarara. Topic is supplementation effects of feeding different levels of Baker's yeast on growth performance of COP 500 broilers. This is the team, Hemraj Dhagal, me, working in Nepal Agricultural Research Council, Dr. Megraj Tiwari, Principal Scientist, NARC, and Copper Vishal, Technician. It will contain introduction objective. These things will be here. And first of all, introduction. We know poultry enterprise is most emerging agribusiness in Nepal, and we know Chittagong is the poultry capital, and also we say it is poultry basket. And cost of production for any business goes up to 60 to 70%, but it can go up to, if management is not good, then it can go up to 80%. And there is always need of low-cost feed combination for economic production, however with no adverse effect in the health and performance of the birds. One of the major challenges faced by poultry industry in developing countries is to improve efficiency of production and maximize the productivity. And these are, I want to omit it because time is only 15 minutes. Objective was enhance, the general objective was to enhance the income of poultry farmer, and the specific objectives were formulation of feed, of cost-effective poultry feed without adverse effect in the consumer's health and performance of broiler, and to help in controlling antibiotic residual effect in the broiler. Review material methods. Site was Regional Agricultural Research Station, Tarara, and it was conducted from February 15, 2018 to 28 March 2018. The birds were procured from the local hatchery, means in Tarara Poultry Farm. Design was CR